Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome back to another F1 22 Esports onboard POV video. Hope you're doing well. On screen now are the results from the last race that we did around Silverstone, which was, managed to pick up a third podium in a row. And yeah, had a very solid event, one with first and third. So yeah, we had a fantastic start to the season, and now this is the first race of the second event. We're doing our first run of Q1 now on screen. As we open DRS now, and yeah, this is a tricky little track to get right. Not many corners around Austria, but it's extremely difficult to put it all together, and it's very high commitment. A lot of areas you can get it wrong, and yeah, so far this lap hasn't been particularly great. This track was a bit hit and miss for me in practice. There was a lot of things that just weren't gelling 100% together, as we completely missed that apex by about a postcode. And yeah, I think hindsight's a lovely thing. I mean, you can look back at these races and things and you're able to identify what certain issues were, but at the time it's very hard to, or at least at the time you know to an extent what the issues are, but until after the event you're not able to solve them all. So yeah, this was not my, let's say it was definitely not our best track of this event, Austria. So yeah, we just wanted to make sure we continue to score some solid points as we have our first run now on the board. It's only P10 in our first run of Q1, which was, to say the least, not great. It was not the one. Dropping now down to P12, so we had a very poor first run, and yeah, we absolutely had to go again because there was no way we were ever going to make it out. So pressure's on now. We know one tiny mistake, one tiny lock up, and we are out. So we really got our clutch up now as we get a pretty solid turn one, pretty nice and clean, nothing too over dramatic. Definitely improved on the exit, saving the distance now over to the left hand side, going over the curb, braking just past 100 meters, give or take, getting to the apex much nicer this time. Pretty similar exit, and that is us around 700s up on our delta on the first run. Heading now down to turn 4, braking braking pretty late and still missing the apex, but certainly gaining a lot of time back on the delta, as you can see now. So the lap should be more than enough to get us through, as long as we're just nice and safe and cautious with how we round out the lap. Still understeering through this left-hander, which was it's a very understeery corner, that one in general. We set a purple middle sector apparently as we are going through into the final two corners, where we completely missed this apex. We were not risking anything at this point. We knew we had the bulk of lap time in our pocket to hopefully go through as we slot into P4, and that should be good enough for us to progress forward in qualifying.
Yeah, good job, Lucas. Nice job.
So there we have it, P4 and P5 respectively.
Oh,
Barry only needing just the one run to get through. Just Barry things, you know, absolute goat. And yeah, on to our first fresh tyre run of Q2 now. The only way we would ever get 2 sets of tyres for Q3 is if we managed to go through on the first run of Q2. But heading into turn 1, good commitment on the entry, so a relatively decent first corner, I would say, visually anyway. I don't know what the delta is going to be as we come up to the split now. It is a 997, so I mean, for Q2 first run, that's, I mean, I've certainly seen worse. So yeah, nice and clean hairpin, very good execution, nice and smoothly executed. Heading now down to turn 4 once again. Are we going to hit the apex this time? Yes, we do, definitely. I mean, this lap's looking much more cleaner. The grip's obviously a bit higher now in Q2, but the lap is certainly coming together quite nicely so far, as we manage to tuck in the front end pretty nicely, pushing the car all the way to the limit now. Understeering through this corner as you always do, but the key thing is carrying good momentum. This lap's looking pretty solid to, you know, potentially get through in one run if we manage to negotiate the last two corners well, using a bit of curb on the inside. No harm done there, but we turn in way too early into the last corner, and that has completely ruined our exit, and we've lost so much time, and it's only a 907. We lost so much time in the final sector, and had we not made that error, we would have definitely been able to get through on just one set, which would have gave us, you know, it would have given us 2 sets for Q3. So that was a big mistake into that last corner. And yeah, going into turn 1, not a good turn 1. Turned in way too early and cut the curb, so we're already 2 to 300s down our axis now. Delta settled down, so 200s down. We've got it all to do on this lap. Head into the hairpin. car was just what we had. We got the car set up nicely for the exit, but the car started to break away from us past the apex. So not getting the exit, even if we improved the line. How are we going to do into turn 4? This time missing the apex, and this is desperate now. We are half a tenth down on a lap that is not good enough to our Q3. So we have got a lot of time to find or to pick up through the rest of this lap. We've gained a little bit back now as we enter into sector 3 now. We really just need to send these last 2 corners. We have no other option at this point. Decent commitment through the penultimate corner, but this time look how much we gain in that last corner, and it wasn't even that good a last corner again this time, but it's enough for P4. And how's that going to be looking on the leaderboard now as we drop to P5?
Very good.
And it's good enough to get us through.
Yeah, we're good. We should be. Yeah, we are. Alright, nice job. Nice last sector.
So painfully, our first run would have actually, technically speaking, been enough to go into Q3, but the times when I don't think it was it was just, you can't really predict these things, you know. It was a 9-0 I would never have expected to be able to get through. So now we're on our final run of qualifying. We only had one set of tasks, so we had one run to do it, so it's all about putting together. Nice and clean turn 1, so a decent start to the lap, nothing too over dramatic through there. Now heading into this hairpin, that's a 965 split. Could certainly be worse. We have a pinch of the front left into that hairpin, not ideal. We definitely wanted to get the car into the corner a little bit earlier, so that might slightly hinder us now as we head towards turn 4, our arch nemesis in this qualifying. How's it going to be? Again, we just understeer. We have that corner, albeit the line looks clean, that's definitely a chunk of lap time we've lost. It's certainly a couple of hundreds, maybe 2 or 3 compared to, you know, if you hit the apex properly. Now we've got one more sector to negotiate. We do get the car in nice and tight this time into that understeer left-hander that we've been struggling with all qualifying, and we've got 2 more corners to go. I was always struggling in this last sector in practice, but we're committing hard now. 1 more corner to negotiate, get into that apex nicely, running out all the road in the exit, and what's it going to be? It's going to be a 7-1-4, and it's P2 provisionally, but there's no way it's going to stay P2 as we drop to P3 now, and let's see how much further down we drop. We were one of the earlier cars to finish the qualifying. Barry jumps up ahead of us by 200ths of a second. Longay was only 6,000ths of a second ahead of us in qualifying. Josh Ido coming up to the line now. He goes into P2 with a pretty solid lap. Freddie Rasmussen now coming up to the line. Where is he going to go? He's going a provisional pole position.
Jeez.
Simon Weigang, where's he going to go? Just again, I don't even, exactly 200ths of ahead of us. So that turn 4, you know, it's coming back to bite us. We are P7 for this race. We only had one run, and the run was clean.
We're going.
And yeah, we paid the price for very small mistakes, as we're only 200ths away from being inside the top 4. So F1 Esports, ladies and gentlemen, and now we have an inter-race, an inter-to-dry race. 5 red lights are on your screen. They finally go out. How's our start looking? And we are pretty neutral away, not really gaining, not really losing. Looking towards the outside of Nicholas Longay as he gets pinched in the inside a little bit. We get a good release out of this corner, and we're actually pulling alongside. But Simon Weigang rejoins the track, and we get squeezed. So we lose all of that momentum. That was really, really unfortunate placement there. We couldn't really, we were just stuck. We couldn't really go anywhere as we dive up the inside of Simon Weigang, but Nicholas Longay now slows up on the inside, which means we cannot get the run on Simon. So now we're still in P7, and this is not what I wanted in the race, because I've always got good confidence when it rains, because I feel like it gives me opportunities to do things in a race, even if it is hard to overtake, generally speaking. But pace-wise, I've always got decent confidence when it rains. But we're still in P7. We really need to be going forward. As Simon Weigang and Longay are going side by side. Simon goes way, way, way too deep into the middle sector. Sorry, the end of the middle sector. Longay now on the inside. We're side by side into the start of sector 3. Longay pinches into the apex, but we get a much better exit than Simon Weigang on the outside. And now we finally make up just 1 position. Not exactly the dream start we wanted to get away with, but we knew that, you know, the race was long, 36 laps, and especially with rain, you know, patience is going to be key, or so we thought anyway. So yeah, starting lap 2 now, we're net 1 position up from where we started, which is yeah, better than nothing, to put it that way. And now we are on the back of Nicholas Longay, and you can see the straight line speed of the cars ahead is pretty solid. We're having to use all our battery and we're barely gaining on the car ahead, so we have a look up the inside. Longy feints to the inside also to defend, but now we've slowed up Longy's momentum, but he gets a much better exit just naturally from this corner when it's really hard to sort of not yo-yo back and forth when you're in a train in Austria. So him now down to turn 4 for the second time in this race, and Longy locks up and goes deep, and this allows us to get into P5, which was crucial for our race. So albeit the start didn't go the way we wanted, now we are up into a position where we can play in this race. We can certainly pick from here. The leaders are just there, and I was very confident of my wet weather pace. So yeah, now it's just about getting our heads down and yeah, getting on with it and catching up to the group ahead. So yeah, we've also got our teammate ahead of us as well, which is a well, it's a good and a bad thing, because it's a good thing in terms of, you know, we're both in the top 5, but the reason it's a bad thing, before people get confused by me saying that, is it makes it very difficult for the team to make the right decision on strategy. With both cars in you know, a fighting position, because especially from an inter to a dry standpoint, because it means that always one driver's going to be potentially on a worse lap. Sometimes they're quite similar in terms of the lap, sometimes it's very, very much one-sided, so it's a headache for the team, but it's obviously better to have both cars up this far, and it's great to have, you know, it's just better to be in this situation rather than not. So yeah, now as you can see, as we skip onto lap 6, the order hasn't changed, the rain has officially stopped, and yeah, now we've just got to sort of play it out, try and see when the weather wants to start to dry up.
Radar is clear, weather is looking good for now. Okay, not sure whether dries or inters are faster, we're right on the crossover.
So Jeff giving us the info there to say that we are on the effective crossover period as we are starting lap 12 now, and the pace is obviously a bit quicker now than it was at the start of the race, and now it's just about when are we going to box, when is going to be the time that we pull it. But skipping onto lap 14, new strategy option is available, and now we need to start to think about when we're going to pit, because we've still got both cars out on the track. Now the key, and perhaps the very, very good thing for us, was
we both stayed out.
The very key thing for us is that the track was drying very slowly, and it's a very short track, so if you go longer or shorter, the difference isn't as big as it would be at, say, Spa. So
Lucas box.
As we get the call now to boxes, the team thought that with me being the car behind, the thinking was that this lap was maybe going to be the next best lap, so Barry went longer in anticipation that the next lap was going to be right, but actually in reality a lot of cars dived in on this lap, but we had to fire up hard tyres, so the idea was that Barry would get the overcut here. So yeah, always in play at this point in the race, and yeah, rejoining now in, you know, 4th in this train, and pit limiter off. And if you look at the top left of your screen now, Nicholas Longy is on the medium tyres, which in theory won't get to the end in a very good condition. However, Nicholas's strategy was going to revolve around being in the train, being able to manipulate you know, track position, which is certainly possible. But going into this hairpin on the freezing tyres, we completely missed the apex and give Nicholas the position for free. The only positive from that was, technically speaking, I was never exactly going to be keeping that position for long anyway, so it just kind of hurried that process up. We just lost a little bit of ground, I guess, but it didn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things, so I got away with that mistake. But yeah, that just shows how tricky it was. The tyres starting to fire up a little bit now. They are still freezing, but we are starting to get some purchase as Barry, our teammate, is into the box, hopefully going to pull off an undercut on the cars that he was racing ahead of us to, yeah, put ourselves in a good position as a team in this race. DRS is now enabled, so that is a signifying that technically, and as we actually nearly crashed there, signifying that it could be a good time for these dry tyres now. So where's Barry going to come out? You can see him there exiting the pit lane now, and yeah, Barry rejoining just behind Nicholas Longy, and yeah, Longy was a big winner out of all this, albeit on the medium compound tyre. So the idea for us was that hopefully Nicholas would come back towards us later in the race when his tyres dropped off, but that all depends on how it is in the train. And yeah, now with Barry on his colder tyres, we decide to swap positions, not fight each other, and yeah, try and help each other in this race, with Barry now having a little bit fresher tyres as well, which should help him later in the race. And yeah, unfortunately for Barry, that overcut not technically working, albeit I don't think the time loss was massive on the end lap, but yeah, just the way it all worked out, it didn't exactly pan out, which was, yeah, unfortunate given how, you know, tight the margins are around here. So
Give me DRS.
yeah, well, just now you can hear Barry asking me there as well to give him DRS, which I think he did get on this straight as well.
Don't use.
And then you can hear him saying, "Don't use the DRS," so that I can make sure, so that I can still stay with Nicholas with the gap ahead, but Barry's still able to get the DRS down this next straight, as I didn't want Barry to get overtaken by the likes of Yard. Oh, obviously nobody wanted that to happen. So yeah,
I got
it's really, really tricky at this point in the race with Barry trying to fire his tyres up, but Jarno Lockmere now going to go up the inside of our teammate into the hairpin, which, yeah, was certainly not ideal, but the only good thing at the moment was that we had pulled out of the DRS of Jarno, but only momentarily, as I believe Barry got shuffled down behind Brendan, who had medium tyres. So it's just a domino effect. Extremely unlucky there for Barry with how all of those things panned out. But moving on into this race now, onto lap 20 now, and you can see the key thing for us in this race was we were trying so hard to save our battery, but we were so slow on the straight. We were suffering. We were quick in the interstint, but we were not able to, we had decent pace in the dry stint, but we were not able to close on the straights. Every single straight the guys ahead would be pulling away. We were definitely too slow on the straights in this race, and what that crucially meant was I was struggling so much to recharge my battery, which meant that it was really hard for me to be able to do much in this race. As you can see, Nicholas Longue on those mediums getting himself up into P3 in this race, as we are into P5 now. But our straight line speed was certainly not helping us at this point in the race. It wasn't allowing us to get close, wasn't allowing us to recharge the battery, and that could prove crucial. So yeah, we're on lap 20 now, and we opt not to attack Josh ahead of us because we didn't want to, use all our battery in an attempt to pass him and, risk something when the race has still got so long to go,
It's just under pressure.
It was risk management. I didn't want to do anything stupid because at the end of the day, points are better than no points. But sometimes when you play the calculated game, it comes back and bites you. So it's tricky. But yeah, skipping on to lap 28 now. I believe I've saved around, I can't really see what the number is, but not as much EOS as I would like. And yeah, Jarno right behind me, and I'm having to use my battery because you can see he's using it a bit as well, unless that's just how quick he is on the straight. I have no idea, but yeah, having to use a bit as well. But actually breaking into this hairpin, we have to go wide to avoid making contact with the cars ahead. They broke so early into that hairpin. We were so far back, and yeah, this is really not good for us because now we're fighting with Jarno Lockmere going side by side, having a very good battle at this point. Actually, in all reality, as we nearly spin coming out of turn 4, side by side now into the middle sector and somehow hanging on to the position. But regardless of hanging on to the position, I've just lost all my battery, and it took me so long to recharge that battery to that point in the first place. So considering how hard it was to charge battery in the first place, that was not great, and I've only been able to regenerate what I've got now as we skip on to the penultimate lap of this race. Longue's tyres now, as you can see, he's flashing on energy. Longue's tyres are completely done. Josh has no energy, and at this point I was thinking, right, we're still in this, we could potentially still get a podium, as Josh now goes for the move. Longue doesn't opts not to fight it into this corner, trying to go for the DRS. But remember, that top speed disadvantage I had is about to prove very crucial, because even with these guys flashing, I'm not using my energy, but these guys are so quick on the straight compared to me, and this was going to hurt me. So now we're stuck behind Longue, and Longue's pace was really dropping at this point, but I'm just stuck. There is absolutely nowhere for me to go in this situation. I'm stuck right behind Longue. I cannot pull alongside. I've got to now start thinking about defending from Jarno Lockmere, who had so much more battery than me, as far as I can remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but he definitely had. We certainly had more. And now he's going along my outside, and I can't fight this. And I decide to. I don't even fight this at all. I pull out the throttle, and yeah, because if I fight this, I would have no energy, and then I needed the energy to pass these cars ahead. But it was, I just didn't have anything to respond with, and even now, getting up into turn 1, trying to use the energy to pull alongside Longue, but I can't. I'm trying to, I mean, now he's got the slipstream as well, so everything was just falling apart in this race. I'm now out of battery, and maybe here I should have sent it up the inside, but again, a massive risk and very easy to get wrong, and I could have shunted into Yarno. It's just hindsight at this point if you were to, you know, play that move. But you can see I cannot get close enough, even though Longy has ran out of tyres. I cannot pull alongside him. I cannot get into a position where I can overtake. This was infuriatingly tricky. I've just witnessed a podium slip potentially out of my hand, and I cannot get up the inside. It was just all falling apart. I could not find a way alongside. I didn't have what I needed to, you know, make it happen. And maybe, yeah, next lap I would have had a clean run on the DRS, but everything was going wrong in this final lap. And we just went from P5 with a prospective podium, now down to P6, just unable to get the run, just because we didn't have anything to respond with on the straight, not enough battery, and that is a really frustrating P6 in this race. And yeah, we played the calculated approach a lot of this race, but yeah, in the end, we went from looking at a potential P3, or you know, at worst P5, to then ending up P6, which was, yeah, not how we wanted this race to end. It was a lot of effort for not much yield in the end, but at the end of the day, points mean prizes, and we managed, I mean, with not making, you know, any silly lunges or any huge risks, we picked up solid points at the end of the day, as much as it was nowhere near as many as I would have liked in this race. But thank you very, very much everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this race. It was quite a chaotic one, so I hope you enjoyed this onboard footage. And yeah, hope you guys hope to see you guys in the next video, which will be most likely a track guide around this track as well. So yeah, take care everybody. I hope you had fun watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So take care everyone, love you all, and ciao.